It is 5:40. I am opening this meeting. I apologize. I was a few minutes late, stuck in traffic, and we are experiencing technical difficulties. For those of you old enough to remember that, we used to say that kind of thing all the time. But with modern things, we don't experience it so much. Sam the Wonder Man over there in the corner usually has everything under control, but we do have some technical difficulties tonight. So we are going live on Teams to have the entire meeting recorded, which will then be broadcast in its entirety later, as I understand it. In the interim, if we are able to fix the technical difficulties, the meeting will go live on the live stream. And in the meanwhile, we'll have it recorded in its entirety for folks to see later. In attendance with me tonight, I have committee member Woodson. I do not have Mr. Grajales, Mr. Benahan Grajales. I do have also in attendance board members Perez and Mr. Sakalovic. Am I missing anyone else? No. And Sam will let me know if anyone else shows up.
Notice the big board?
I do.
Updated the board.
Sam the Wonder Man. And also in attendance, I have the superintendent, the deputy superintendent, and other notables on down the line over there. So I won't go through all the introductions again. We'll get to you all as we get to your parts on the agenda items. So the first item on the agenda is approval of the minutes dated September 24th. I will move their approval. Mr. Woodson, can I get a second out of you?
Second.
Thank you, sir. All in favor? Aye. Aye.
Aye.
He's not on the committee. Thank you, Mr. Woodson. All minutes are approved. Second item on the agenda, discussion and possible referral to the full board for the approval to renew subscription with Thought Exchange.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I do have Rick from Thought Exchange online. He is going to do a brief presentation for us. As you may know, Thought Exchange is the communication mechanism that we've been using for the last year and a half to really promote the things that we've done around making sure that we have our positive messages out to the community. And so Rick is going to give us an overview. This contract is coming up for renewal, so it is something that we're hoping that the board will consider moving to full board for the next appointed meeting, which is, I think it's Monday night. So please, Rick, I will turn it over to you. You can introduce yourself. And then you can, we will give you the ability to make the presentation and we'll take any questions afterwards.
Sounds good. Hi, everyone. Rick Chander. You can hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Perfect, because I can't see anyone right now. But either way, hopefully you can see my screen when I start sharing. The deck is quite lengthy, but I want to make sure I'm covering the pieces that are most important to you. So I'll go through just some tidbits of it and probably focus more on like how we're going to use Thought Exchange moving forward. Unless
Rick, hey Rick, can you hear me? Can you hear me, Rick?
I can, yes.
Okay, I just want to make sure that we can, the board chair wants to have some questions for you.
No, I just wanted to make sure that, I mean, if you can't see, if we could hear. And so I had no indication that you could hear. I was just checking whether or not we were flying completely blind and deaf or whether or not we could hear.
But you can't see me, Rick. I'm waving at you right now. You can't see me?
No, unfortunately, there's no video on the call right now. It's weird.
We've had some technical difficulties with some of the equipment this afternoon, so just bear with us. We can see you, but we can't see your screen. So
okay, I haven't started sharing my screen yet. Let me try that, and then you can give me the go ahead on whether you can see it or not.
Perfect. Sounds good.
Just give me 1 second here. And can you see my screen now?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, perfect. I will put it in presenter mode so it's bigger. There we go. You see what I'm seeing?
I am, and Rick, I would like to emphasize that, we can, I know you have tons and tons of slides. I don't think
I
that's
know that.
gonna be,
I'm over here.
something that
No, it's not showing.
we need to kind of go through, but just as you go through, just highlight, the most important pieces of what we've done
Yes.
with Thought
We should do
Exchange
that.
and what Thought Exchange do, and then some of the things that we can
Yes, right now.
utilize Thought Exchange in the future with as well, because I know you guys have done some advancements in it. So you can
Sure.
just start from that perspective, okay?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'll go through the beginning part pretty quickly, just so you all know you're on our E360
Sharing history,
platform,
and I can see.
which means
Here's
that you
my-
have
okay.
both exchanges, surveys, and all our advanced features
I know.
in there. So I'm not sure if if you're all familiar with exchanges versus surveys, but surveys exchanges are that collaborative way of approaching engagement. So there's one open-ended question. Everyone gets to provide their thoughts on that question and rate everyone else's thoughts as well. And so what that really does is it creates that shared perspective. So you get to see other people's perspectives and understand how they're thinking, and then rate whether it resonates with you or not.
Yes.
And at the end of it all, it actually gives you a prioritized list of what's really important to your stakeholders. And of course, the most important thing is it gives everyone voice.
Oh.
So you're all familiar with, town halls and whatnot, where you have some loud people speak. With an exchange, everyone gets an opportunity to share their voice. Now we have the other modality of surveys as well. And how we differ from other survey platforms is we really dig into the why. So with most survey platforms, you can figure out the gaps, that's no problem. But really understanding the why behind those gaps is what we focus on. And we do that through kind of that AI-driven analytics. So we can give you instant feedback and results based on the responses from your participants in real time. And the way we do that is we use qualitative data. We focus a lot on qualitative data. So if you have a question about safety, let's say, with your students, and someone rates it low, then we can push them into qualitative data and ask them, okay, well, why do you feel that way? And then take it another step further and say, okay, what can we do to prevent you from feeling that way? What interventions could we make? And so instead of going to your participants over and over and over again, we try to get all that information in one shot and really give you that feedback quickly. So again, kind of reiterating what I said. So looking at your usage over the last year, we can see in 24-25, you had 24 engagements in total. Now that is 4 less than the year before, but if you look at the participants, you had almost double the amount of participants. So you have great participation, increased significantly year over year. When we look at the different initiatives that you use Thought Exchange for, we have everything from culture and climate, curriculum instruction, several different initiatives using both surveys and exchanges. So getting great usage out of the platform and using it for some key initiatives such as culture and climate. If we look at the number of participants, as I said, it's increased 89% year over year with both surveys and exchanges. And then if we just look at exchanges, the number of thoughts and ratings that your community is providing and your district is providing has increased astronomically. So first year, very few, up to, it's increased 608% year over year. When we look at kind of showing the value of Thought Exchange and how it can really help the district, we kind of look at 3 areas. We look at efficiency, equity and inclusion, and effectiveness. Now, if we're to break down Thought Exchange into conversations between 2 different people, we kind of show you how much time you would have saved. So because it can be done synchronously as well as asynchronously, people can participate on their time when they can. So if you had 17,000 participants and they spent 5 minutes each talking to one another, you're looking at about 178 days of conversations saved.
Well, I'll talk to you later.
When we talk about focus groups, if we're looking at groups of 10 people and we spend an hour with them, it would take you approximately, 1,706 hours or 213 days to run those focus groups. With Thought Exchange, again, you're doing it within days, less than a day. Like putting together an exchange takes minutes, and then launching it and collecting those results, again, may take a day at most. And then finally, if we're looking, oh, I think I just did that twice, sorry. Finally, if we're looking at just exchanges, so those are the collaborative engagements. And we think about people looking at other people's thoughts, rating them and spending that time. It's like having conversations with multiple peoples amongst each other. And again, you're looking at about 312 days of actual engagement time that you saved using Thought Exchange. From an equity perspective, how inclusive were your conversations? We spoke with parents, guardians, staff, students, community members, different schools, different grade levels, different ethnicities. I'd say you guys are right across the gamut on all of it, which is very impressive. So really collecting that voice from all the different groups, understanding their perspectives to make those key decisions that you want to make. And then finally, I picked 4 different engagements. I wasn't the account manager at the time when these engagements were taking place, but I thought they were quite significant. So we had our high school student and climate, culture and climate survey, which brought in about 3,000 participants. And I won't go through all the details, but you can kind of read the different emerging categories that came out, such as, connection and care, academic and perseverance. We ran a State Board of Education meeting outcome. And again, some emerging categories were like confidence and oversight, Board of Education training, different concerns and ideas that came from your stakeholders. And again, that was about 1,000 participants who shared over 800 thoughts and rated over 14,000 thoughts. We did a curriculum survey going out to all the families, and they brought up their concerns and shared kind of how they felt about the curriculum and what we could do to enhance it for them. So things like technology and learning, supports for family, disciplinary, environmental issues, all came out of an exchange, a survey that was run with these stakeholders. And then finally, there was the facilities master plan. And again, the concerns that came out of there were collaboration, communication, from how are they going to prioritize the funding, resource allocations, teacher supports. And you wouldn't be able to get this type of information unless you ran an exchange and really understood how your participants are feeling, how your community is feeling, staff, students, etc. This one, again, was quite large with over 1,000 participants who shared 490 thoughts and just over 9,000 ratings. So I'm just going to pause there for a second because I've been speaking for a bit. And I just want to make sure there aren't any questions at this point because I can't see if anyone's raising their hand or anything.
Okay, first I want to acknowledge that Mr. Ben Grajales has joined us about 10 minutes ago. And she was here at the start. I had Ms. Perez here at the start of the meeting. So just Mr. Ben Grajales has since joined us. And let me ask if Mr. Ben Grajales or Mr. Woodson have any questions first.
I have a question.
Gentlemen, any questions?
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
What are the suggestions that your program is suggesting for like what was the first topic? The high school. It was talking about something.
School climate. I'm sorry.
Culture and climate.
Yeah. Does your program give suggestions or it just summarizes what they say?
So it does both actually. So it'll give you some areas that you should investigate. And then we also have an AI feature in the back end that acts like a ChatGPT where you can ask it questions. You can say, you know what, give me some interventions that I should consider based on the survey results. And instantly it'll start looking into the data and kind of figure out, you know what, you should consider looking into teacher, like here you have examine teacher student engagement levels and factors impacting consistent enthusiasm. And that's where I come into play as well. So I work very closely with Dr. Avery and his team, and we kind of think of, okay, these are the themes that came out of this. What can we do next to kind of figure out the interventions that would work to overcome some of these areas? Does that answer your question?
Yeah, but I'm just, I'm just trying to read. It's a little small because I'm looking at it on my iPad. I'm sorry, but
Sorry. I can read them
um,
out to you if you'd like.
Mr. Wilson, if you would like, I can provide you with a copy of that particular survey. It goes into a little bit more in-depth perspective. One of the things that happened with this survey, this is a required survey for the year for the district. And so we have to take those things and really plan for the following year. We take those things and analyze how we're going to do things differently for the next year. So I can provide this survey results to you, and we can have it in a format where it's reasonable. We can actually provide it to all the board members, but we do use the surveys that's collected, the completed one, to provide the guidance for staff to start looking at. It's divided by each individual campus, so it goes back to the campus principal. They'll have those things to be able to use as well. So it's just an ongoing way that you can do professional development with a staff or with a campus in order to get the voice of the teachers, the students, and the parents in their community as well. So it's a really good tool to be able to use.
okay. Is there
And-
is there a way to break down, who is using this the most? Is it the teachers? Is it the parents? Is it the students? Because I'm concerned about, because of course we don't really have the participation from the parents that we would like. So, any chance that they get that they don't have to actually come in and voice their opinion or come to meetings, they have, have a place where they could voice their opinions from where they are. I think we should take that into account. But like I said, I'm just worried about who are the main people participating in these surveys, because I it's just it's it just could get a little touchy when certain areas of people are the only ones participating in these surveys. Thank you.
If I may, Mr. Woodson, just a second, go back to our presenter. I wanted to get these numbers. You laid them out. You said there were 3,000 participants in that survey, if I recall.
Yep, I'll put it back in so you'll get the exact number here. Yeah, this one had about 3,000.
And then you said there were how many comments generated?
So this one was a survey. It wasn't an exchange.
Oh, okay. So, but it was still 3,000. And you in each of these, you broke down your areas. So the 3,000 participants generated how many questions or comments?
So with the survey, it depends on how many questions are in the survey. With an exchange, it's a little different. So you can so here, I'll show you an exchange. So this is an exchange. And you can
No,
tell
I
by the
actually
icon.
just want to stay on that one, sir.
Okay.
So
the-
surveys and exchanges, I'll make a note of that.
Mhm.
Because I understand you're making a distinction and I understand the distinction, but I
Okay.
just want to stay, because Mr. Woodson is asking about that one, and I want to stay on that one. So on that survey, 3,000 participants, how many people? You gave numbers at the very beginning of your presentation, and you were just too fast for me to write them down.
Okay.
So I just want you to repeat those numbers that you presented.
So the numbers I gave at the beginning, and I'll go back to it, they're the very, like, that's overall. That's everything. So here we can look at, there were 6 exchanges. This is both surveys and exchanges, the participation here. But
No,
if
no,
we,
on that one, I just on the high school, school climate. That's all I want to know.
so there's 3,000 participants.
And then nothing else?
No.
No,
Okay.
because it's a survey.
But,
Okay, now out of those 3,000 participants.
Yeah.
How many of those were students? How many were staff? How many were parents?
Okay.
Just all students, period. Okay. So
And-
this is strictly a student survey?
Correct.
Okay. Thank you. I
Um,
just wanted to clarify when you were breaking down categories.
Yeah,
So
no
that's
problem.
strictly a student survey? And can you break it down by schools?
We can. If
Okay.
it was asked in
So
there,
if-
we can
if-
break it down by all of
If
it.
Dr. Avery provides us with that data, we'll see it by schools.
we can do that, yes.
Okay. Go
And-
back, Mr. Woodson. I just wanted to, you can go ahead and now throw that. I just wanted to get the data right.
Sure.
What Rick is doing is taking the highlights for this presentation.
Yep, I get
and
it.
Going for that, but we can dig deeper into it based on what you're requesting.
But he was offering us 4 examples and
Yeah.
his numbers were too fast for me and I wanted to go back and get the numbers anyway that I thought would shed some light on what Mr. Woodson was asking and it doesn't. So
And one of the things I think will be important to the board based on, Mr. Whitson's, question about the surveys is that we can, every time we do a survey, we can do a survey directly to parents. We can do one directly to students and we can do one directly to staff and whatever topic that we choose. And so if we want to dig deeper into getting parental input, we can target that. So we can move and do that moving forward as well. So if we didn't do parental input this time, we can definitely do it next time we roll this out. I think we have a couple of coming out pretty soon anyway, so we will definitely be able to pinpoint that. This is the beauty of our exchange. Whatever and however we want to do it, we can dig deeper into the analysis of what the board is wanting. So we want you guys to understand the difference between a survey and an exchange. And then they have another option that we haven't really even dove into yet that we're looking at, engaging as well as an additional way of being able to get input from our community as well.
and what are you gonna label that?
Now, Rick, what was the other one that we have not had any experience with from the district?
So we have another option called interviews. And so it's like having a one-on-one interview with an AI. But really where it helps is sometimes you have those power struggles where if you're doing an exit interview, you're not necessarily going to tell the HR person how you really feel because you want a reference moving into your next position maybe. But with AI, we find people are far more honest and they'll kind of open up and we can dig deeper. So we've built capabilities of even have an AI ask the next question based on the question that they've already asked, and really dig in deep on what you really want to understand from that particular person.
We just stay on the 4 though right now.
Yeah, we're good. So again,
We'll get there.
we're coming. So he's gonna go to the next one, Rick.
Well,
Um,
we're still on the 4 examples right
Yes.
now. Mr.
Yeah.
Woodson, did you have any other questions on the high school ones?
No, I'm good for now. Thank you.
Mr. Benahan, did you have any questions on any of this?
No question, thank you.
Ms. Perez or Mr. Sakalovic?
No, all of my questions for the youngest is basically just broad.
I just want to get your overriding numbers, and the examples. You said there was it just a survey on the State Board of Ed?
This one was an exchange.
That was an exchange.
Yes.
Okay. And this was a survey on this high school. And on the exchange, we had about 1,000 participants on the State Board of Ed, 800 thoughts, if I have the numbers right, and
14,000 ratings. It's on the screen.
14,000 ratings. That's what I thought I had. Okay. And then the third one example you gave, I don't even have what it was.
It was the BPS curriculum survey for families.
BPS curriculum. And for families, and that's a survey?
Yeah. and that was about 1,000 people.
That was about 1,000. Okay, and then the fourth one was the facilities
Facilities
master plan.
Yeah,
That was a exchange.
correct.
And you had 1,000 participants, 490 thoughts or comments, and 9,000 ratings.
Correct.
I got my numbers.
Great.
Thank you.
And just so you know, and going back to the question that came up, we actually provided a full insight report on the culture and climate survey. So this we created on our end and we provided back to Bridgeport.
On the high schools.
Yeah. So it's got everything in there and we can share that with you. By school, by different questions, etc.
Great.
Okay. So the next area I was going to focus on was looking ahead. So I had a good conversation with Dr. Avery, and we identified some areas that we thought Thought Exchange could help in. And the areas we identified was solidifying the facility study, budget shortfall, special ed, so new hires, and finally absenteeism. And so what I put together is kind of what were the area concerns? How can you use Thought Exchange, and what the deliverables would be? Excuse me. So really, when we were looking at solidifying facilities master plan, coming out of the survey that was already put out, there was concerns on financial transparency and classroom capacity. So we can really use Thought Exchange to really understand what are the priorities for spending and phasing. And what that really does is we can identify those top priorities. Is it safety? Is it accessibility? Is it energy and efficiency? And then break it down by different groups to get a better understanding of how we need to put this facility plan together. Getting over transparency. So demonstrating that we are being transparent. You said, you spoke and we listened. And we can, again, break it down by heat maps and neighborhoods. Different areas have different needs, and we understand that, and that's why we're building these facilities in these particular ways. And the last was classroom capacity. So really understanding, is it overcrowding that we're looking at? Is there different pressure points that they're concerned about, and getting back to them with an understanding of why and how we're going to deal with those issues. When we're thinking about ROI based on the exchanges and surveys that we run, we can look at both sides, educational as well as financial. So obviously you're building a new facility, you're going to create improved learning conditions, which means, higher student engagement, academic performance. You reduce overcrowding, and you create that trust, that stakeholder trust, because now they're involved in your decision-making. From an ROI, from a financial perspective, think about the cost savings if that project got delayed because your community wasn't in agreement with you. Every time you have to delay that project, you spend money, you waste more money. And now you have a prioritized list of what's really important. So you're going to avoid all those delays or political rework. When we look at budget shortfall, again, going out to your staff, your family, your community, and identifying what are the programs, what are the services that they most value. And with Thought Exchange, you can do that. You can create that rank list of those programs that should be funded, that we should keep, that we should save, that the community really wants. When you look at staff morale, so you're giving teachers, you're giving staff a safe space to share their ideas. And hopefully that helps with morale and makes people understand that they are part of this process, making them understand that there is a shortfall. And this is what we're going to do. We're going to try our best to kind of keep everyone safe. And then finally, again, with the transparency, that community trust. So really understanding from the community what's important to them and, showing them the strategies that we're taking to rebuild that confidence with the budget that we have. Again, from a ROI perspective, thinking about on the education side, you're going to keep the most, you're going to keep your focus on those high impact programs because you understand them. Hopefully, it will increase morale from staff and community, and keeping those supports for community learning by minimizing any disruption. From the financial ROI, you're looking at reduced turnover, hopefully. You can identify some of those low impact spending. And then finally, again, strengthen state trust and credibility, showing that they're a part of this. This is a transparent process that we're going through. With respect to special ed, it sounds like there is an issue with hiring special ed teachers and retaining them. So we really want to look at twofold. Okay, so what are the barriers and what attracts special ed teachers? And we can reach out to staff. We can reach out to SPED staff as well, and really get an understanding of, what are the biggest issues for your hiring? What do we need to kind of retain you? And we can provide those rank lists back to HR so they understand, okay, when we're hiring SPED teachers, we need to look for these things. This is what they're looking for to make us look attractive. And again, inclusive programs. So which programs should we keep? And we can go out to staff and families and any SPED stakeholders. What are the programs that we have right now that are supporting them? What programs could we include or add that would help to support those families? And again, once an exchange or a survey is done, we can instantly go back to those stakeholders and show them this is what you've seen, this is what you've said, and these are what the changes we're going to make to kind of meet you there. On the ROI side, if we can improve student outcomes, obviously you're going to have a more stable workforce. You have qualified SPED staff that want to stay, that aren't looking to leave. Hopefully you're attracting more SPED teachers into the district as well. There's the inclusion and co-teaching culture across general education classrooms, and greater family satisfaction. On the financial side, turnover costs a lot of money. We know that every time you lose a teacher, it costs $10,000 to $20,000 to hire a new one. So hopefully you're reducing costs from, reducing that turnover. District displacements, so people leaving your districts costs you money as well. And of course, there's always legal and due process costs for anything that's outside of that. And then finally, absenteeism. So really getting down to the root cause of absenteeism. We know that it is an issue across many districts, almost all the districts that I work with. So really understanding student perspectives, parents' perspectives, and teacher perspectives to the root cause of chronic absenteeism. Is it transportation? Is it safety? Is it health? From just a general survey, it's really hard to figure that out. But once you start asking the why, we can start looking at those root causes. Is it because they have family engagements and they can't make it to school? Maybe we need to add more homeschooling or those online classes to kind of meet their needs. Also building student belonging engagement. Why aren't students coming to school? What's keeping them at home? Is it because there's nothing motivating them to come to school? What's their experience? So really understanding that and creating that rank list of what motivates kids to come to school is something that we can do, kind of like a student climate. And finally, strengthening the family and community partnership engagement with families and parents to understand what can we do to co-create a plan that'll bring people together, that'll help us help you, bring those kids to school. Because we know on an ROI side, it's easy. With absenteeism, your kids aren't in school, they're not graduating. So the more kids in school, we have higher achievement, we have higher graduation. We can't intervene in students' lives unless they're at school. And we need to create that stronger sense of belonging. So if we can do that, we improve behavior. And of course, there's also the instructional continuity. If your staff are happy and they stay, students are more likely to stay as well because they're connected with those teachers. You don't have substitute teachers. On the flip side of that, you're going to save money on substitute teachers as well. If your funding model is attached to, attendance or student attendance, then obviously you recover those dollars. And you don't need to make up any programs in the summer, remediation, any types of additional costs in that sense. So those were kind of the 4 areas that we thought we'd focus on. And again, I'll pause to see if there's any questions.
Mr. Woodson, Mr. Benaham, Corrales? Any questions?
No question, sir. Thank you.
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
My question is for Dr. Avery. You said they had this program for a year and a half. Have we used any suggestions from this program?
Explain yourself a little bit. Any suggestions, meaning?
Like, because it has like 3 different columns, and it has he said that that the program makes suggestions about the data that it receives. So do we get data from this program, and do we use it to make decisions?
Yes, sir. I think that's the important piece about it, because we can dig deeper into it and we can extend the exchange if we needed to get more input if needed. One of the things that, remember the first year that we did it, we didn't have as many because people didn't know how to use the product. This past year, we did a really, really good job of getting more people exposed in the utilization of it. And even moving forward, being able to get this tool in the hands of principals, they can also do a little bit more of that at the individual campuses, and you should see an uptick in the utilization of it as well. So it's one of those easy tools that any administrator can use to engage their parents, their teachers, and their students. And we want to really look at that and how we, really that it's all about that return of the investment. The things that we're using in the district, we have to be very mindful of the money that we're spending on it and the utilization of it. So as we look at each program that we engage ourselves with as a district, the critical thing moving forward is, are we getting the bang for the buck? Are we using the tools that the board is allowing the district to purchase? And if we're doing it in a manner that's going to be beneficial. So you're spot on. I think that's very, very important. As we look at everything that we spend dollars on as a district, we need to make sure that everybody is engaging in it and it's being used to the best of our abilities to utilize. So yes, I think that's important moving forward. So that's a great question.
Okay, thank you. That's all.
So let's follow up on that question. How much is it?
He's going to get to that at the end of it.
Oh,
That's
I
part of
thought we had hit the end. No, you're not calling.
And we're pretty much at the end. The end is just simply our commitment to you. So this is what we provide in terms of deliverables. We help you design and administer engagements. Sorry, did I cut someone off?
It wasn't clear to me. Mr. Sikalovic had his hand up. As a member of the committee, I was going to ask that question about, I thought we were at the end. And I thought that's where he thought we were too. So I wanted to ask a question about the end. So I'll let you finish first and then we will move to that.
Sure. And again, this is just kind of our commitment. So those kind of were the areas that I already touched on. Student attendance. We're really making a focus on student attendance and success, staff retention, and community engagement as our 3 pillars, because we think everything can be kind of taken down to that level, and that's where you see your real ROI. So you secure your core funding, you stabilize your workforce, you secure your sustainability through public support. Those are key initiatives that we want to work on and we want to help districts improve on. and we do it through custom kind of tailored outcomes. And these are all kind of the big initiatives that we work on with districts right across North America. And that was it. So that's the end.
Okay,
And I'll stop
So-
sharing there.
when does our contract expire and how much is the new contract?
So the contract expires at the end of this month, and I know we're a little bit late in this process. The renewal cost is $70,000.
End of November, end of October?
End of October, yes.
$70,000 for another year?
Correct.
And Rick, do you have the quote of what we paid last year? I don't have that in front of me.
I don't have it in front of me, but I could probably pull it up if you have a minute. Just give me 1 second here. So last year,
I'm voting on last year.
I've got 62,475. Looks like there was a discount applied last year for some reason. Doesn't say why.
For sure.
Sorry, what it is.
Oh, he's looking something up, I saw.
No, did you hear the last
I thought you
year's?
were still looking for something.
No, no.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I apologize.
No, no
I
worries.
thought you were still looking to see something and I didn't want to interrupt your,
No.
you're looking
no,
for something.
It
Um,
unfortunately, it doesn't say anything else besides that.
okay, I guess this all looks and sounds nice to me. It is too much too soon for me. Mr. Woodson, you should know it was almost as hard for me to read as it was for you. And so whatever you're going to present to the full board had better be more readable to all of us. So that packet should be a packet that we receive that we can read. But what I would also like to see is what we got out of it this year. I'm going to tell you, because I remember how you arrived. And how you arrived was controversially. And it was not necessarily an agreeable arrival. And my experience with the thought exchange has not been positive. I'm going to be honest with you. What I find is I get involved in a survey, not a survey, an exchange. And I can't keep up with it. Because there are 490 comments and I can't react to 490 comments. So after about 200 comments, I stop reacting. And that's what I find is problematic in the process. You know, it was advertised as this sort of public forum where we could all sort of exchange and react and exchange and react. And I watched where my comments ended up. It was intriguing to me to see. And some of them I would run into, some of them I wouldn't. So I could see how that happened. And where there were 800 comments or thoughts, it was even more overwhelming. So it had at some point, people just get tired of trying to find all the comments and react to them all. So there's a limit, and I don't know how your algorithm or whatever it is figures out how to apply what to what. And so, what was presented to us 2 years ago was this was a unique. And so we skipped the bidding process because it was a unique. That's not the word. There was another word.
Sole source providers.
Sole source. Thank you. A sole source provider of a product that was worth us looking at. And I understand, in my own poor person's way, why it was a sole source provider, and I can see its unique abilities, et cetera. And I just am not sure that, I tried hard to go through the comments and avail myself fully of it. But I just 800 or 1,000, 500 or 800 thoughts. There's no way I was much more committed to getting through them all and couldn't. So I'm betting that not many people did. So the ability for this process to be fully utilized, we have to think about how it works and how we get around that. I also would like to know, because I can understand that there are other aspects of the program that I'm unaware of and ignorant of, where you mentioned a moment ago, individual building administrators using the program in a different capacity that I should know about, that we should know about as a board. And so I'm concerned and disappointed to hear that this is expiring at the end of the month, because frankly, I would like to have had more time to discuss more fully how this is useful. And how we are using it usefully, because I trust your word when you tell me it's being used usefully, but I'd like to know how it's being used usefully before we spend another dime on anything. That's where we're at. So you put us in a hard position. And I'm willing to consider putting it to the full board for discussion Monday night, but I'm warning you, that's the hard position that I feel like I'm in. And, without knowing all this ways it can be used and it's being used. And one of the things obviously is how have we used it in the last year? You offered us 4 examples, and we need to see more examples. Those examples ought to include what you said, the results of the high school survey, the results of the State Board of Ed survey exchange, the results of the curriculum survey, and the results of the facilities master plan exchange in some sort of coherent fashion, cogent and coherent fashion, because Lord knows we need to be able to see that. And then any other ways where you may have used it more concisely or precisely, it has been useful to you as administrators that we're unaware of. So I want to see what Ms. Hughes wants. Go ahead.
One thing I just wanted to add on to the discussion is that for instance, our division, we primarily use it with teachers and principals, and it provides us a way to get feedback. So for instance, we initiated data teams this year. We just had data teams last week. So we sent out a survey for teachers getting their feedback. How was the process? How can we improve the process? So for us, it's a quick access to our people, our individual groups. We have an admin council tomorrow afternoon with the administrators. We're going to follow up that with the survey. This August, we did meetings with our surveys and we used it to get feedback on what hardships do you envision that you'll encounter in trying to implement XYZ. So it's a way we've used it as a tool that we can use to get immediate feedback from our users and our participants to find out how to proceed.
Absolutely. And all that needs to be presented to us as this is how we're using it. These are ways in which we're using it now. Given the fact that they are unique as a sole source provider and their service is unique. And then, now I know that was used to avoid the normal bidding process. That doesn't strike me as anything unique. So what makes them the ones that we should use to be able to do that kind of survey? What makes them, I understand they're the one we have now and we're going to continue to use. So we've got them and we're using them, and maybe that's legitimate, that maybe that's enough. But what makes them unique that we should continue using them as a, the one that to do that with? Or is there a cheaper, better, easier service we could use, given the fact that we need to be more parsimonious with our money?
I can't answer the latter, but I can tell you the information you get back, it synthesizes it. So it gives you those big categories, the AI feature, and it gives you the big categories, the big buckets that you can, so it's a very quick read as opposed to looking at every answer. You can do that too, but it also.
I'm gonna counter in my huge, and I'm underscoring my level of ignorance in this area. But I'm betting I'm right. And I know that I have people sitting at that table and here next to me who know better than me, as well as this gentleman here making his presentation, that in the last 2 years, since we had this discussion about the sole provider, that there have been huge leaps forward in the development of AI and what can be done. They go way beyond what was presented to us 2 years ago in what can be done by the huge number of companies providing various services like this that are on the market out there trying to buy our business and other businesses like ours. So I'm not.
If I may.
Yes, sir. By all means.
So yes, there has been leaps and bounds in
this
AI.
discussion.
There's been leaps and bounds in AI, 100%. What makes us different is I don't think any other survey platform out there right now will synthesize your data with an education perspective like we do. We focus on education, and we synthesize the data so it's understandable in a way that makes sense for this industry, for district organization systems. The other side of it is when you talk about rating all the thoughts and whatnot, we don't expect anyone to rate every thought. The algorithm on the back end actually makes it so that every thought gets an equal amount of weight rating on it, so that you come out to this perspective that everything has been looked at. It's not just one person doing everything. So if someone rates 30 thoughts, we're over the moon. That's a great rating ratio. You don't need to rate every thought. Like I said, the algorithm in the background does all the mixing and matching of thoughts with ratings to make that as fair and equitable as possible. And if you're looking ahead and you're talking about AI, we're actually moving into another feature that we're going to add on where you can take multiple sources of data. So let's say you have your strat plan, which is a PDF, you have student data, as well as your exchanges and your surveys, and you can bring it all into one space and our AI will make sense of it. So you can cross-reference how you're doing against your strat plan. You can cross-reference if you've done better year over year, and the system will do it all for you. So that's our next kind of iteration that's coming up very soon. I have a little teaser demo if you really want to see it, but that's kind of where we play, and we are education specific versus other companies that may not be. That I don't think they've incorporated AI in any way, shape, or form the same as what we have.
Go ahead, Dr. Avery.
Let me just kind of interject. We can sit there and debate who's better, who's what, whatever. The decision is before us is, do we move this to the full board or not? That's going to be a committee decision. what's gonna end up happening, whatever the board decides, we have to recalibrate what we're gonna do moving forward, because we've used this as a tool to communicate. And we would have to figure out what options, and my team will provide and come up with an option if this is not moved to the full board or passed by the board, to figure out how we're gonna communicate to our families. That's what we'll do, regardless of what the outcome of this decision. We'll figure out how we're gonna do that differently, because that's what would have to do. I have to find out ways to communicate to my families, to students, and getting a voice. And that's one of the things that you guys are pushing me to be able to do, is get input, be transparent. And so this is the way we've done it, and we will have to readjust if need be, if this does not move forward.
And I am
Like an hour already.
it hasn't been an hour. You exaggerate way too much. It has been about 10 minutes, maybe 15, but that was because the chair was exercising his right as a member of the committee to speak his mind on this subject. But I am going to go to the committee member first. I apologize to you. But I had been holding my thoughts for a long time too. And they were on the fact that this is a concern to me. Mr. Benahan Grajales.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I want to be clear, you guys are not far away. Moving to or like you said, try to move it to the full board, and I don't feel to move it to the full board, because I will not approve it, and I'm telling you the reason I approve it. I remember, for the record, I'll say this for the record, because we declined and we never passed this way. Our convention is going to be next month. We need money for our staff. We don't need to spend money for something we don't need it right now. It's the only thing, I want to be clear that, because I know we have to have our staff first. We need things is very more important about this program. I respect what the gentleman say, presentation and everything, but as a board member and a part of this committee, I want to keep forward. I don't want to not to bring it to the full board, because we need to save money. As I say, our convention was canceled we was not approved. Why we have to prove something is not necessary for now. I just want to say that for the record. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Sakalovich.
Yeah, I want to back up a little bit and go back to some of Mr. Woodson and everybody was saying, and then Dr. Avery. My experience with Thought Exchange has been a positive one. It has evolved over time. There's a saying in data and computers and programming, garbage in, garbage out. When we first started using the program for Dr. Avery's tenure, there's a lot of garbage in. The survey results were useless. And the added value that Dr. Avery brought is, I don't think it's a function of people understanding the process more, but a function of people being able to trust the process, that they're not going to be vilified for a negative thought. And I found it quite useful. One of the features I find quite useful is the coalescing of the thoughts in the words. We don't have to read through the 500, 600 comments. We can write as many as we can, but the thoughts and the key words are going to raise up. And some issues actually I've discovered off of Thought Exchange that we discussed was some of the kids were being timed in the restroom on one of the things, and we wouldn't have found that out unless it was for the Thought Exchange, that the part of it was the what do they call that program? The Raptor program. And they had the Raptor passes in the school, and a lot of kids in one of the schools were complaining about the Raptor program and the time passes and all that stuff. And that brings us to the but what I would like to see with it is if we are utilizing it as much as we could, and do we have more capacity to use that we're not using? Because I definitely like the words return on investment. And I also like saving money. And to Mr. Trader's point, we do need to look outside of other venues at some point, because as we've mentioned at several board meetings, we do need to save money, and the return on investment on programs like this and such as this is gonna be great. Because it's, especially coming up with the budget and all of that stuff, but, we need to write an RFP broad enough to get enough people so we can weigh companies against one another. But this firm I have no issue with. The surveys I'm pretty happy with. I just got a question. How are we going to involve other stakeholders outside the people like parents and students? I know I know I get it, but when there's a parent survey, I get something on Parent Square through whatever communication means I put down on my Parent Square. I happen to get it 2 or 3 times because of being a board member, and sometimes my son's in the second program inside the school, so I get 3 of them. So how do we engage the outside stakeholders when it comes time to getting their input?
We can actually do that. Carly has a list of like 30 plus, stakeholders. If we have a exchange that we want to exchange with them about how they're going to help, we can do that as well. So there's a variety of different ways we can do it. We just hadn't, reached out and figured that one out yet, Joe. So I think that's something that we can do to really kind of pull in a little bit more of that input, like you said, from not only just parents, students, whatever, but from all kinds of stakeholders that we choose to do to target that input.
Right,
from.
yeah, and I think target would probably be the key word because we don't want to get spammed.
Right.
Well, make it too broad. There'd be some sort of middle ground of protection and outreach. That's all I got. I can't, the program has definitely grown on me, but like I said, we definitely need to look for other bidders, but I'm not sure that was the right moment.
Yeah, and even bringing in social media perspective as well. So there's ways we just got to figure out and come up with ways to be able to do that.
Thank you,
Sorry,
sir.
sir.
Ms. Perez.
Yeah, so I just want to clarify. First of all, I'm in support of this, but I don't have a vote in the committee. But I do want to clarify. Someone misspoke earlier about our convention being canceled. It was not canceled. We just are not spending $2,000 for hotel rooms for board members. That's one thing. Second thing about the actual thought exchange, I agree with Mr. Sokolovic. The AI piece is important in this day and age. The turnaround we get on these surveys is a lot quicker than we would have if a staff member had to sit through the surveys and go through them. And just the data we're receiving from them is not like we've seen in since I've been on the board. It's really great results that we're getting. Obviously, we can probably use it, like Mr. Sokolovic said, a little more on different stakeholders, and that's something that as a district, I know we definitely increased it this past year than the first year we used it. So we are using it more often than we did our first year, and I think that's a positive trend. So I would highly encourage you guys to move it to the full board so the whole board decides on if we should use this or not. Once the month ends, we don't have a way of communicating. We don't have this type of communication with our stakeholders unless we find something else, and that would have to go through the procurement process and take some time. And at the end of the school year, Dr. Avery will be evaluated on his community engagement. And if he goes a couple of months without having that access, how does that affect his evaluation? So, which I would hope it doesn't. And so I do encourage you guys to move it to the full board, this committee, so that the whole board can really take a look at it and decide as a board if we want to go through it or not. That's all.
I would like to add that, we talk about impacting all stakeholders. I think that's important, but the tool that we're using has over 100 different languages that we can turn these surveys into the adequate language that's appropriate to members of our community. And that's a huge thing for us. And so again, there's a lot of different, avenues regarding timing, when, what, how. But again, it's just important that I appreciate the candidness and the thorough working through this particular process of being able to do it or not. But again, I think it's something that I feel strongly about. even the first year when it was implemented, I was here when, as a deputy, when it got ran through the board. You know, even last year, we had to jump through, hoops to even get it passed. But as you can see, how we used it, and I can tell you, for me, as the interim school superintendent for the last 10 months, it's really how we communicated with our families. And I think we did a pretty good job of that, using this tool. Again, yeah, I'm hoping that the community thinks that as well, but it saddens me that I don't know what we're going to do, but we'll rebound if it doesn't go through. We're okay. We'll make it work. We're not quitters. We're going to figure out how we're going to do it. We're going to do it really well when we decide to do it. Whatever tool we use, it's going to be fine. So I want to make sure the board is comfortable in making a decision either way.
Mr. Banahan, is your hand still up to speak?
Yes, that's, I'll put it up again. Mr. Chair, just for clarifying and everything, I'm going to be up to the point. We need to save money, and we all know that, and we all know, I don't need to say very clear what we're going through. So before we spend something, we have to think about it, how to spend it, why the reason, if it's necessary, because we got another priority that our students, our staff need us first. So I just want to be that for the record. There can be only $1, and $1 is going to be a lot of different for our district. So I want to be sure, be a cancel, like Ms. Paris said, the situation, I don't care how much was it, but the thing is, before we spend something, we have to think about it, because our priority right now is our students, and be sure our staff get the education and what they need in the classroom. I just want to say that for the record. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Woodson? Okay.
No,
Let me
no comment.
Let me be clear. I am singularly struck at the comments about not seeing this thing die in committee. My comments in no way suggested that I was going to kill this in committee. My comments, in fact, suggested that when you bring this to the full board, you ought to be doing certain things to the full board. I thought I made that perfectly clear. And yet I'm hearing 2 or 3 people make comments about not wanting to see the school board. Now, I think you better come prepared, better prepared. And I mean that quite honestly, because I'll be prepared to argue with you at the full board about this presentation tonight, because this presentation tonight doesn't do me at the full board. This is a presentation to sell a new contract that frankly, I think shouldn't have been presented to us tonight. It should have been presented to us a month ago. And we have had this problem of being presented contracts at the last minute. And I have enormous respect for Dr. Avery and the staff and what they've done. I said it 10 minutes ago when it was my turn to speak. Even though Mr. Sokolovic was waiting an hour and a half to make his comments, and I was taking up my turn as a member of the committee before him, I said, I have enormous respect for what you've done. Presenting contracts to us at the last minute before my committee, because that's the last one before the board meeting again next Monday. And I found out about it yesterday. So it's not like this is the right way for us to be proceeding. It's not. Giving us a chance to really mull this over, look it over, throw it up, see what it looks like under the hood. Those are the things we should be able to do before we make a decision like this. And that includes looking at what other options we have and what the cost of those other options are. And that's been plaguing us for a long time, before and now, and we still want to make sure we do those right. And it's no comment on this product. And is the devil we know better than the devil we don't know? We don't know this because we haven't looked at either of them. We haven't done that right. And it is one of those things we want to be better at. regardless of whether this is still the best choice. We want to make sure we know it's the best choice because we did our due diligence. That is one thing that we as a district want to be better at. So that's the only point that I made. And I know that we're not in the same place we were 2 years ago when this one got shoved down our throats. The world isn't in the same place. The AI is moving faster than my old brain can move and fathom. So I know it's not. And whether they move faster than kept up with and are staying ahead or not, I have no idea. But we want to make sure as a district that we've checked to make sure. And that's my point. And we want to present this to the full board in a way that makes us seem responsible. And the board responsible when we decide to spend this money. That's all. So, yeah.
I agree with you 100%. I think the way you presented it and making sure there was a few snafus with this, even 3 or 4 weeks ago. Our representative has changed. Rick just joined our team just a couple of weeks ago. Mohammed was the guy that presented it the last 2 years. He is on a different team now. So there's a couple of different things that was not presented to the board, but that's respectfully, I respect your viewpoint. I think it's validated. We will regroup as if this is presented to the board. We will be presenting a whole different perspective. Hopefully that will be more palatable.
I am not of the opinion that this committee should make this decision. It is not my opinion that this committee should make this decision. The board should make this decision. So, having said that, I'll take a motion to refer to the full board the approval to renew subscription with the Thought Exchange. Would somebody care to make that motion for me?
Second.
No, you make the motion, Mr. Woodson. Would you care to make the motion for me?
So move.
I will second it. All in
Abstain, Mr.
favor?
Benahan. Abstain, Mr. Benahan.
You second it, Mr. Benahan?
Abstain.
Abstain. Okay, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
And Mr. Benahan, you are abstaining.
Yes, sir.
Okay, then the motion passes. Thank you, Pete, very much. Can we move now? Since I thought this was going to be a short pre-election meeting, that was my intent. I said that several times to Ms. Koshan yesterday. And it is now way past my bedtime, so to speak. Not my bedtime, sadly, these days.
Rick, thank you. We appreciate your conversation. We'll circle back with you.
Okay, and I appreciate your time and your candor. Yeah, if you have any questions at all, please feel free to reach out to me.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Rick.
Thank you.
Can we get an update? The next item on the agenda is an update on the hiring of the kindergarten paraprofessionals. How are we doing on that?
We have 21 have been replaced through the sub agencies, Delta T and Kelly, and we have 18 that are waiting to be filled.
And we did reach out to Kelly and Delta, and there's going to be some additional recommendations probably about tomorrow. So that's going to be probably less than, around the 10 mark. What happened is when the board approved the 39 plus, positions to be filled, only one agency were assigned to get them filled, and they're scrambling to get enough people to fill the positions. And so what we did is we prioritized getting at least just one. Some campuses have multiple ones, some only have, one. So we made sure everybody at least got one the first go around. second go around, we're adding more as we go. So that's kind of where it's a little time delayed on that, but we feel very confident in talking with both of them today that we're going to get these things filled pretty quickly. So that is the update that we had, and wanting to make sure that the board was aware that it is a priority. Now we're working with two agencies to kind of get them filled, and hopefully we'll get those done in the next couple of weeks.
Yeah. Pretty careful. To be very honest with you, we did charge Delta and Kelly to make sure they vet every employee that or candidate coming to the school district to avoid any potential legal issues. So they're doing extra vetting of newcomers. So I spoke to Delta today. He said he's got people on the pipeline that's going through the final vetting process. So it's not just filling for the sake of filling.
What was the one agency to start?
Kelly
Kelly
and
and
Delta.
Delta.
Kelly and Delta. What is Kelly? What is Delta?
Kelly Services.
Kelly.
I thought they merged or something. So I wanted to make sure that when I said what is one and you gave me two names.
Kelly, what is
Kelly was first and now you're using Kelly and Delta.
Delta was first. Delta, okay, we gave the whole assignment to Delta.
Okay, the story was we went to one agency first and they ran it up.
Which was
That was
Delta?
Delta? Okay. All right, so Delta had Delta first.
Yeah.
Now we're doing Delta and Kelly,
And Kelly.
and they are being more stringent in their vetting.
That's what they were charged with from day one.
Yeah. Okay. And more stringent vetting. Okay. And we're hoping to have this completely,
In 2 weeks. Within 2 weeks, even the ones with 3 parents that need 3 parents in the school will be fully filled. So let's put a little pressure on them, more pressure tomorrow.
we get an update on that Monday.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
Any questions? Joe?
Yeah, as far as Kelly and Delta, one of them, forget which is which. For special ed and one was for the general.
No.
Oh, they both,
Through the chair. They're both doing the same, paras and paraprofessionals. Kelly is more into specializes more on teaching positions, like teaching positions, more than Delta. But they both have just about the same number of parents.
we have no exclusivity contract with
No.
them. No.
Absolutely not.
Absolutely. I just remembered that.
If I was, what Mr. and I talked about is a little competition.
Yeah.
Who could fill them first is who's gonna get the vacancies that we have, so.
And from Monday's meeting, could you have the vacancy fill rates for both of them? Over the past, like the historic ones, because they got certain contractual obligations they were supposed to be living up to, and we never really followed up to see if they were meeting their expectations.
We can do that.
Yeah.
We can do that.
That's all.
Can you elaborate what that means to you?
I can't remember the number. I think we're required to have something like, I'm just gonna make up the number and I don't remember.
Yeah, no.
They're supposed to have, when we have somebody out, 85% of the time, they are supposed to have somebody for that position.
The fill rate. Yeah, we can give you fill rates for both. We had a presentation with Kelly today, and it's 80 to 85% fill rate, and it's been that way for the last, couple of years. Well, we've only been with them a couple of years now, so, but yeah, we have that. We have that.
And then can I ask that when you update that on Monday, can we see where we're doing on the schools? I thought we'd get a report on where.
It's what you sent out this afternoon.
Oh,
The number of vacancies for kindergarten pairs by school.
okay.
We had that.
The ones that they feel that.
Yes,
Yes, please.
The ones that's still open.
Yes, please.
Absolutely.
We have Yeah, well, we just need to have that data before Friday when it's posted. We're gonna try to make sure, right, we'll make sure we put that in the pack so you can review it.
Yeah, and then if there is an oral update on Monday, at Monday's meeting, you can update that oral.
Absolutely.
And say, as of tonight's meeting, we've also.
And Danielle, I'm gonna request that you, every time we have a meeting like this, every request from the board, we gotta get that notice to cabinet so that we can, boards requesting this, and that. If we can do that after every meeting, that will help us expedite getting you what you need before you post the agenda on Fridays.
Or if the board members too want to send me too, like their request, just email it over too, and that would,
Yeah.
I can monitor.
And just like you said, Mr. Traver, we too are trying to change our processes and things that we do to make sure that we give and service the board quicker, faster, and more efficiently as well.
Yeah,
So we're gonna miss some things, but we're trying really, really hard to be able to.
No, I get it.
So,
And I don't want to add cumbersome information, but this strikes me as something you already have.
Right.
So
absolutely,
it just,
absolutely.
I don't want to add something you got to spend an hour and a half to 2 hours
Yep.
compiling, but if it's there,
Absolutely.
and obviously it is, because you just said, that things that new master, and that's cool. Okay, and just the update on the PAC PTSO program.
Sure.
Were there any other questions on the kindergarten Paris? Okay, update on the PAC PTSO program.
Absolutely. I'll be very brief. Things are moving along fine. The allocations were given to the schools to begin building their action plans. So it's about $6.96 per student. And then the action plans should be submitted by October 31st. I'm working with Miss Jeanette Herron. She's reviewing the action plans. They will be approved through the business office, and then we'll begin spending the allocations per school and be able to provide the board a monthly update on those expenditures.
When did you give them the allocations?
It was sent from the business office yesterday.
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 They have until the end of the month.
They do. Although they've had the action, they've already started to build the action
They're
plan.
working on it.
Absolutely. They've already had.
Know what their budget is.
Exactly.
They're going to give it to you by the 31st.
Correct.
Okay. Are there any questions about that? Mr. Benahan?
Yes, Mr. Chair, thank you for your time. I really don't know how many times I'm going to say this, and if everybody know, and this is when Dr. Saki was here and Miss Dr. Faga was part of this. I asked so many times about the action plans for 2024, 2025, and the one for this year. I don't know when I'm going to get it. I don't know when I'm going to get it. It looks like they don't want to give it to me, so I'm going to do another way to get it. Why I'm saying this? Because I need to start to see what's going on with the vendors. I already spoke with Ms. Rocha, the situation, and Ms. Rocha was not part of this when I asked so many times about the action plan. Ms. Rocha, you say that how much is going to be for each student? The money for each bag of PTSO?
$6.96.
Sorry, I didn't hear you.
Just under $7. $6.96.
So they went down from 9 something to 6 now?
Yes.
Yeah.
Because wow, I didn't know that. This is the first time I know this. And you say they have until October 31st. You say something to return to finish the action plan.
Yeah, so we've already given everyone the action plan, so they've already started to work on it. But now that they know exactly how much they'll get per student, they can start to budget out each of the actions and then submit it by October 31st.
Do you know the reason why they went down from $9 something to $6? They tell you the reason. I know the situation about the cutting so many things, but they don't tell you exactly why.
I don't know, Scott.
Yeah, Nestor.
Go ahead.
Wait, what was your question, Albert?
Why the reason for $9 something went down to $6 something?
Okay, Nestor's going to try and answer that.
Through the chair, PAC allocation is based off Title I grant allocation. So if Title I grant goes down, the PAC allocation goes down accordingly. If Title I grant goes up, PAC allocation goes up accordingly. So it's driven by the amount of Title I grant the district is allocated. So we do not have, the district is not decided by the district, but decided by the amount of title grant that the district is allocated
And that's determined by
by the state and the federal government,
who?
the federal
Right.
government.
So that is a Washington DC decision, Albert.
All right, thank you. So Ms. Rocha, they got
That's-
7 days. They got 7 days exactly. Thank you for your answer, Mr. Nestor. Ms. Rocha, they got 7 days now, exactly 7 days for the PAG and PTSO having the action plan done. I'm
10
talking about
days.
school days. It's gonna be 7 days.
Fine.
No.
So, yes.
Sorry, I didn't hear you. I'm sorry, I
That's
didn't hear you.
okay. We're just counting the days. So they have about 9 days. We're here to help. They have their action plans from last year. So they're able to, take a look at what was already done, make some modifications, possibly make some decreases in some of the events. But Ms. Jenna Hare and I are here to help them and, whatever they need to help get that submitted. And if there are any barriers or challenges, we're asking them to reach out to us so we can assist.
I'm sorry, Rocha, but I'm counting a school calendar is 7 days to have this action plan.
School 7.
7 days.
Okay. Because 7 days, we understand that parents work, parents got family, got big things, to do, and they need to be, action plan, as my experience doing this for almost 20 years, had to sit down with the principal and have to sit down with the staff and the PAC and PTSO, whoever got, things. And I believe they have to do election this year almost all the school. So I don't know. I feel concerns about people's gonna get confused. People's are not gonna get the time. If they don't finish October 31st, are they gonna have a little more extra time so they can finish the action plan? Because it was almost 37 schools.
Of course, what we've done in the past is, if there's extenuating circumstance, for example, elections are still being held, the PAC has not been fully established or was not able to get together. We just ask them to reach out to us. Of course, we are flexible to work with them. We don't want to hold up the process, but we want to be aware of any barriers or challenges, and we want to be able to provide that support. So if that is the case, they can reach out to us and we will work with them directly.
I know you do, Ms. Rocha. I don't have nothing negative from you because you're an amazing person and I know what you're doing. But my concern is that they went crazy to do action plans because I really see and really have experience on many schools. They do action plans like crazy. They put this, they put that, how much we're going to spend this over here, put this name. No, that's not the way you're going to do action plan. They do an action plan the way it's supposed to be to try to help the parents. This is the reason I'm asking and I'm still waiting the action plan for last year. So I just want to know, Dr. Everett, if you're there, and I've really sent the email just so many times, where am I going to have the action plan for last year? Because I want to see the vendors and what's going on. That's my question for now.
I will get with Carly and Jeanette, and we will get to you an answer for that tomorrow. I don't know how quickly they can have access to them, Mr. Benhan, but as we conclude our conversation with those two individual staff members tomorrow, I'll have something for you.
You
Yeah,
want
there's
the
something.
vendors?
The action plan is very easy. It's in the grant office. Something they really submit. It's in the computer. The only thing they have to do is making copy, and that's it. It's very simple, Dr. Everett. It's not something you have to go to college to do that.
You want the vendors list?
The action plan, the whole thing, the action plan. Ms. Rocha, she really know what I want exactly, so I
For
can.
every school, for every school?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. For each school.
I don't know that we're in, I'm not sure that we're entitled to it, Albert.
Yes, we did because I have it from 2 years ago, and I can show you that, Mr. Traver. So we can, yes, action plan, and I can show you when I get back from my travel. I have the old ones, and it's something about action plans about how the schools spend the money and who's the vendors. And I have some, the reason I'm asking this, I will let you know the reason about the action plan.
And is your concern right now whether or not they get them done by the deadline?
No, I'm talking, I need the one from last year. That's what I want. That's what I'm waiting for. You know that
But
we bring
right
this
now,
when you
are we
start your
cons-
committee.
Do we want to make sure that they get done this year?
Of course, this year is starting, it's 2025, 2026. Yeah, they have to do it done, but I'm looking for the one from last year, Mr. Trevor.
Okay, but right now, I just dealing with tonight's report, which is getting the making sure that we're starting the year on the right foot and things are moving
Yeah.
forward.
I agree with you.
And yes, and Miss Carly, who, if I recall correctly, you said was the person we wanted to be in the position that she's in, is going to make sure that the action plans go the way they're supposed to. And
Trust me,
as
she
just,
will.
if I understood her correctly, she said she will make sure that anybody who needs the extra time will get taken care of. And Mr. Naquo, you wanted to add something to this?
We will try, through the chair, we will try, board members that I have, we will try to get you last year action plan, possibly by the end of tomorrow.
Okay,
Mr. Trevor, I'm more easy, more relaxed, more happy that Miss Rocha's being part of this, because that's for the record. She know what she's doing, and I have experience working with her for so many years, and everybody know that. So I know she will have this situation this year done the way it's supposed to be. So I'm happy for that. The only thing I'm at is I like to see the action plan for last year. That's the only thing I ask for, please.
okay. Mr. Sakalovic.
Yeah, just real quick. I agree with Mr. Benahan. We have historically seen the action plans and the budgets, and the reason behind it is when even the 1%, it's 1%, right? 1% of the funds go into, we're still fiduciaries of those tax dollars. And those tax dollars, while it may seem small in the scheme of things, is very large in its impact. Parental engagement is low in the city of Bridgeport. And when, prior to me joining the board, Mr. Benahan was on top of this stuff as well. We had schools that were spending 0% of their tax dollars. And until we started putting our foot on it and staying on top of the data to make sure, because if you're in a school and you're spending $0 on parental engagement, you're not trying. I mean, parents come home, it's easy to get them out. You have pizzas, you have whatever. Parents will come, they don't gotta cook when they get home. That gives them an extra reason to come to the school. So, and it's been fits and starts. We've been trying to get this thing going together and get momentum on. And it's when the board takes its foot off the gas and its oversight role. I mean, we're not gonna say, we don't pick the schools and say, oh, you gotta get on top of this school right away, Dr. Avery, whatever, but just the oversight alone will demonstrate to the superintendent that this is important to the board. And if it's lacking in an area, that's primarily myself, and I think Mr. Benahan over time in our careers have made it part of our evaluation process of the superintendent, how these things are done. So it's best to stay on top of it from the beginning.
And take no comments from me as disagreeing with that, Mr. Skalovic. We have, through the work we did this spring, Mr. Benahan and I, and the work we've done by getting Miss Carly back in charge of this, we have righted the ship this spring and assured ourselves that the proper training was done this spring and fall leading into the school year so that things started out properly at the beginning of the school year. Proper training was done. Mr. Benahan was overseeing and working with Miss Carly to make sure the training was done. And we have started the school year properly, and everything is moving in the right direction to make sure that we don't have the problem we had last year. To see that everything is spent right. We had a better year this past year, but not good enough. And we are making sure that we start this year right and are moving in the right direction so that the money is laid out properly. It is going to be spent properly. The only sad misfortune is due to our Republican administration down in DC. We don't have, we have 2/3 of the money that we had, or a little over 2/3 of the money that we had to spend per student this year that we had last year. So everything is being done properly this year. The elections, the planning, things are moving in a direction that's much healthier than we started last year. So I just want you to know that we have not been ignoring this. We have been moving in the right direction. And that was all we were trying to do, was to check in with her to make sure that everything is moving ahead as we asked and was being planned. Yes, Mr. Benahan.
Thank you, Mr. Trevor. Question for Ms. Russia. Ms. Russia, David is saying, the money.
Mr. Benahan, I don't know why it's happening, but your volume is going in and out. So if you're moving or something's happening, your voice fades. So if you're moving or
It's the
doing something,
connection.
there you
It's
go.
the connection. It's the connection.
That's better.
Can you hear me? You hear me now? Okay.
That
Question,
is better, sir. Yes.
Sorry, Dr. Avery, the money, so they really spent to the school, right? Because the last time they said it was hold.
I'm sorry.
The money that we sent it to the school, so the money is not hold now, for the PAC and PTSO?
Yes, I remember. I
It was sent,
It was sent yesterday.
Yes, sir. It was sent yesterday.
All right, thank you. And my other question for Ms. Russia, they are ready to do and be part and start making the parent convention for next year.
Yep, so it's my understanding that we will start to build a committee of parents to begin the planning and organization of the parent convention.
All right, thank you. And then for the record, I just want to be clear that I'm glad, Ms. Russia, you'll be part of this because I know things are going to be correct and it's going to be done. So thank you, Mr. Trevor, for your time and everyone.
Thank you, Mr. Benahan. And the last item on our agenda, if there's nothing on the PAC, no more on the PAC PTSO, is the technology update. And I assume that's you, Mr. Carafa.
How are you? Okay, so, my job is to explain a little bit about, what we have in devices. So, I'll start off by, talking to you about the IT department first. All right, they do a fantastic job under Jeff and the rest of the group. I need to make this public so everyone understands. They have been understaffed for a long time. If you look at 20,000 student devices plus another 2,000 or 2,300 more adult devices. For what they have, they work around the clock, as you can see, obviously, with him here. They work hard, and I want to put that out, number one. Number two, Dr. Avery and I went to the state. So we've had a discussion with the state and the state technical team about our devices, the life of the devices, what we have in the district, what we're going to be able to do with what we have, and the potential pitfalls for the future. Let's put it that way. Right now, we just deployed the last bit of fleet that we had in devices out to the district. There's still some left, but that last bit of fleet that we had, those devices were here, a lot of them during COVID and during that time. So Jeff's group did a great job in managing and extending the life by, some of these devices were, 5-6 years. Jeff did some shuffling, some moving around so that we can have devices last and go out a little bit longer at that point. In looking at our devices, Jeff, and I wanted to make this clear, did send something out to our administrators, making them aware, as he does every year, that we may, based on the devices and the damaged laptops that we have, we may be looking at some sort of deficit at this point for our devices. Now, we have a lot of damaged devices. We don't have anyone to fix the devices, but there's a lot of damaged devices that come in each year. These devices, high school, some different schools that we have, some parents take out insurances, other parents don't take out insurance on the devices. So as far as the device upkeep, it's all over the place. For us right now, we've been working on different ways to look at what we have in devices and then look at different funding sources to be able to help us for the future on how to retain the devices that we have, the one-to-one services, the ability for us to allow kids to take these devices home. We've talked to Deputy Director Charlie Hughes at the state. He brought up to me, has the district looked at leasing devices? So from a perspective of what it is, we looked at it and said, we know at one point in time, we've obviously had a ton of devices. Jeff brought up to me, and don't quote me on the exact price, but to get a decent device, it's approximately $300 to $325 for a good laptop device. When you look at that, that's included the software and all the other stuff that needs to be added to that device. If you do your math, that's anywhere between, based on how many devices you get, $3 to $5 million to be able to look at bringing a whole new fleet of devices into the district. Right now, we understand that there's money out there for, we don't know where it is, but we know that there's approximately $5 million of commissioners' dollars that are sitting there. We understand that we have not received anything yet. We also understand that we can get away with next year being able to do things with these devices. The problem becomes is that we do have devices that are loaners that we call. These are devices that we loan out for kids who break or who do things. But, I'm going to be honest right now, Dr. Avery and I are still looking at ways to come up. There's donors that we have looking at ways to come up to make sure that we can continue the one-to-one device per student and device, obviously. In the case that we can, in the case that everything we do right now fails based on monies we try to bring in, what we can say is we would have to go to another model, which is actually what we talked about, which was the high schools and the 7th and 8th graders being able to have devices. And then we would look at going back to the model we used to have, which is stations in the classrooms and or labs that would be in the schools. And we haven't gotten to that point yet, but we certainly, are looking at every method that we can to try to A, bring in dollars and bring in devices, B, knowing we're at a fiscal deficit, understanding if we had to shift, that we do have a model set aside, and I know Jeff and his team has worked hard on putting this together just in case. And looking at it, I can't tell you right now, honestly, where we are, because we're still working with donors. We're still working with the state technical assistance team, making them aware of where we are now and possibly the funds that we would need to be able to do the things that we need to do. Understanding also the importance of the one-to-one devices and technology. We're at a standstill right now of working on the fiscal element to try to make sure that we're able to receive some funds to help us with the depleted fleet that we have right at this point.
Yeah, add, Mr. Chair, just to add to PJ, I do want to extend a huge thank you to Jeff and his team as well, because they've been very patient and deliberate of what options we have. I've been pushing him about figuring out how we're going to do this for the future perspective. So they've got a lot of different scenarios out there one of the things that I've been working with Dr. Whitley is trying to find grant dollars to be able to apply for as well to support technology and the growth of technology in the district. And so that's another way of we got to exhaust all means of being able to find the dollars to get this thing done and continuously getting it done. And so it has been a challenge, but we every day we're trying to figure out what's the best road to travel when it comes to that. But again, there is dollars out there that were, I guess you could say promised to the district, but we still hadn't seen that since the legislative session was over. And we need to demand to see exactly if we're going to get those dollars, because I've inquired, but there's still I can't get that response yet. So, and we've looked under the table.
I just want to be clear, we looked under the table here. It's not under the table, so we haven't been able to find it.
Yeah, so, but
We have looked,
yeah,
we are looking. And we're just double checking all the different possibilities as to where that $5 million is that we were told we would be getting.
So just to comment on devices too, the state, when they upgrade their testing platforms and their testing engines, for some devices, obviously on that device, it needs more memory, or at this point, we need to have a different device to support, because it can't support graphics and different other things. So we have to take that into consideration when you're looking at devices. I think the one good thing that Jeff's team did, and Jeff did while COVID was here, is they really used the funding right to get these devices in so that we would be able to have the one-to-ones with the children and with the schools and with the teachers and administrators. And I think he did a great job on bringing in as many devices as he could with the dollars that were available at that time. We are still superseding New Haven and Hartford and other districts now with the one-to-one. A lot of them have gone back to the model I was speaking of, which is your high schools having those devices, and then the labs / classrooms that we used to have having the model of the 4 or 5, whatever it is in the classrooms. Again, technology is a big thing. It's a huge thing in schools. It's something that we even discussed about testing, if we had to have cards and if we had to test, if this is what's going on. We went ahead just in case, we weren't able to obtain any more funds. And we were going to bring, obviously, I'm glad we're at committee, because we were going to speak to the board, on that when we finally see if there are any more funds coming in, if we can get the donors, it's out there. We've been working on trying to get this in. And then we can give you a better perspective on what next year is going to look like and exactly what way we'll need to go. Again, just like transportation, it's another big expense when you're looking at devices. And it's not just we're going to bring more fleet in. It's we got to bring more fleet plus, because we know devices are going to get damaged. So when you're looking at that stuff, Jeff does a tiering model. He does it pretty well when a new school opens, or, when you get from a grade level to a grade level, he kind of passes the devices down, which is a great model to have, because now those high school kids who really need a little bit more bandwidth with the laptops, it gets pushed down to those lower grades and they get a better model because they need it in all the different computer programs and graphic programming that they do and all the other things that you do in high school to grow. So his model is really good. It's the funding that we're all working on trying to get and make sure that we can sustain the one-to-one capability that we have now. Understanding also, one-to-one isn't just students. I want to make that clear. This is everybody who is in the district. That's employees. So you're looking at a whole nother thing where they have to have devices for their day-to-day work. And we have to make sure that those devices are up to date and they can handle the needs of that department.
I don't think we had. I mean, this was triggered by his inopportune memo. And we all knew because we all took the tour down at your building, how Jeff was, had his all set up of maintaining and recycling and, preparing the hand-me-downs and, doing an excellent job of making the most of what we had. And so there's no doubt in anyone's mind about that. It just, if I recall, when I was on my tour, we were looking at a few more years of viability. And so the memo sort of caught us off guard about where we were at. And knowing, all kidding aside about the fact that the money's not under the table yet, we are in full disclosure. We're all waiting still to find out what's going on with the state money, but we know that we're going to get there. And I say this because I had the benefit of working at a school, Miss Bella knows, where my administrators were diligent about getting us grants. So we didn't have a cart. We had a cart in every classroom. We didn't have to share a cart at each grade level. We had a cart in every classroom. And that was because our administrators were good about getting grants for our school. I don't know why. I don't know why some did and some didn't. She would appreciate to know why some administrators were better than others at being that way, and what the difference was. I'm not passing judgment on anyone. I just know that I was blessed to be working in the school so that when COVID hit, we were able to make sure that every student had a Chromebook in their home to work with. So we were lucky that way. But I think that, when you tell us that Jeff and you and your whole department have been, kept us ahead of the curve versus our comparable districts, it is a huge accomplishment that you've been able to do that, because that's an achievement. It's just tough to compare to. It puts us on par with the Gold Coast districts that we want to achieve, that we aspire to be able to be in the same ballpark with them in so many other ways. So I know that we all know this day is coming. So I think mostly we wanted to get an update that was sparked by having an opportunity to email. So let me, having said that, I appreciate your report, Mr. Skalovic. Well, Mr. Benham, do you have any questions? I don't see his hand up. That's why I'm asking it. I knew you had
No questions, sir.
Thank you.
I got quite a few.
Sure.
Yeah, not to knock anybody, but as Mr. Traeger said, we were all under the impression that we had another couple of years before this thing come. And what exactly changed to change the time? Because from my memory of the plan, it was a constant recycling of computers, new purchases, and it was supposed to be covered for.
I mean, think about it. Think about it. They've been covered. They've had it. If you look at the devices, the damaged devices, if we hired 2 people or 3 people, and that's what they did, is worked on devices right now, and they fixed them, and they were able to get to them. The amount of devices we can get back probably in a school or in a building right now with no one, because you have a depleted department inside of IT, that you don't even have enough techs when it comes out to certain days to be able to send them out. I remember 1-to-1 means you have a problem and you have 20 problems or 30 problems in that day, you know, you're asking the 4 techs that we have, one that's, you know, half nutrition center, go out and go fix all this stuff. Ain't gonna happen. And so some of the reality of what it is to look at those people who are doing the work, those technicians that you need to have when you have a fleet of 20,000 plus devices. And what we've done is we haven't supported the IT department the way we need to. What we do is we say, they can do it. It's not necessary because we need this. When in reality, if the network goes down, we're dead, right? If somebody infiltrates, you know, our systems and takes our data, it's over. But we don't look at it from a critical situation. We're putting Band-Aids over things saying it's okay because they're getting it done. Well, they're not really getting it done. And there's some things that they're piecing because you don't have enough people to physically fix it. We need a network engineer. We need to have, I mean, Jeff's down at least 4 people. Now, he took a hit during when we actually laid off some people. Jeff took a hit where it's there. I mean, I say 4, but really it's 6, 5, 7, whatever it may be. They're never going to be staffed adequately. And what I need you guys to remember is that IT department is a server closet in every school. That IT department has switches. They have, you know, when you start looking at not only servers in each school, they take care of the telephones. They take care of, hotspots. They take care of, you name it. There's not enough staff to do that. And every time we look and we say, well, there's a technology issue. You know why? Because I got Sam and I got other guys that are doing 7 things, when in reality, when you look at other districts, they have, double and triple what we have in Bridgeport. So what Jeff did was amazing when it comes to being able to take those devices and hold on to them for that long and say, because in certain schools, in high schools especially, so in some cases, those devices are broken, and we are giving them a new device. We are saying we can get out and try to fix what we can, but everything costs. So the more you try to get out, the more money you're putting in there. And again, when we talk one-to-one, we're speaking of, 22, 23, 24,000 devices.
Sure.
And that's a lot. So I need you to look at that aspect of it too.
I'm not knocking the job they're doing.
Yeah.
Doing it on a shoestring, and I would rather hear all these complications.
Mhm.
At budget talks, not when it's suggested that we can cut from a certain department that we'll manage.
Mhm.
Because obviously we can't, we're already a shoestring, we're coming into $20 million budget, so I want to implore on the staff, the department heads, when we ask you if you could manage this, tell us these things. I mean, because it was no mystery that IT was short-staffed already. However, something in the metrics changed, because we were all under the impression that was gonna be another couple of years. So that's what I'm trying to lay my.
Yeah, no, I mean,
I'll move on from that point, because I don't want to keep us all night. Devices in storage, how many devices in storage do we currently have? Because I know when we toured all the schools, we've seen tons and tons of devices in boxes.
yeah, so this summer or, start of school year, the rest of the fleet, and there's still a little bit left, but the rest of the fleet were put out to the schools. So they were supporting the broken models. They were supporting there are issues with, again, like I said, devices being old and not able to support current programs. Again, one of the things is that we're bound by what the state and everyone else does. So when you're looking at testing, new engine comes out, that you got to have that. We don't have it. We can't update a device. Got to get new devices. You got to support that.
I don't disagree.
Remember, those devices were 6 years old, and in some case, 7 and 8 years old, that there's nothing more you can do to those at this point. They're just old and outdated and antiquated. So those devices he had in storage, he just brought in.
Yeah.
And, from a knowledge base, he figures that out because, you know, when we sit down with Jeff and his team, they're already on it already that, you know, we're not going to be able to possibly do this or do that. I think they do a great job supporting classroom teachers. There's, you know, as you can see, Prometheans, there's boards for teachers to be able to do what they need to do. I think for us functionally, what we have to figure out is the method and the model that we want to go after. And if we can't get the ultimate goal of the one-to-one, where are we going to be? What do we need to do? Because I think we know that already, but we need to pass it on to you is that if that doesn't happen, here's what we're looking at. And it's not to say that we can't go out and get it. It's another expense that we have to really look at, that put that in the books. That's another thing that for us to support, we're going to need this amount of money in the future. I think donors help a lot, right? But donors at this point, we're not going to get that kind of funding that I'm talking about from donors in general. I wish we could, but I don't know if that will happen. But the reality is, we're looking at next year with a possible deficit of the one-to-one devices. And that's honest and true today. Doesn't mean tomorrow that we don't get, because the state knows this too, that it's going to be the same tomorrow. But
And I would like to say we are not really close to on par, because I'm pretty sure Greenwich don't have the bottom of the line laptops in their classrooms. I'm sure they got better than $300 days, and
right.
They're not having they're probably not having these conversations in Greenwich and Westport. You said we're ahead of, well, I think, Hartford.
Yeah.
And those districts you mentioned are inner city districts, black and brown. And these districts, our particular district in particular, I think at best before COVID, we were 3-1, 4-1 district at best, or even.
Yeah, we had 3-4, yeah.
3-4 to
Plus
1.
labs in some schools, yeah.
It literally took a pandemic, thousands and thousands of people dying and having to go to remote learning to highlight the fact that the impoverished districts were not being fully serviced as the affluent districts around us. They were able to pivot to online learning much easier.
Absolutely.
And now with the implementation of a lot of online learning, online curriculum, online testing, we are dependent upon it for their very education. And to hear we're falling back into that, what is it going to take for the state and local government to fund our schools properly and to invest in education to fix this problem? Is it going to take another pandemic and thousands of people to die? Is it going to take a revolution? What is it going to take for our kids to get what they deserve finally? And I'm tired. I mean, both joking about looking under this big tables and like that, but dead serious. Our people are suffering while the state is sitting on our money, and it's not fair. They need to release that money and help us out now, because kids are suffering today while basically while what's the expression? This guy fiddles while Rome burns.
Nero.
Thank you. And I mean, it makes it melodramatic, but this is reality. I feel this within my bones. This inequity is disgusting that the state of Connecticut he's upon our stuff.
But in this case, it would be Lamont.
Yes.
Well, Bridgeport. Yeah, Albert.
Yes, sir. I'm here.
I'm calling on you. Your hand is up.
Yes, sir. Just a comment, and I want to say this because, first of all, I have to say thank you, PJ. Thank you, PJ, for your team and everyone, because it's not easy what you guys are going through, because it's very easy when people point and say, we don't do this, or you don't do that, and we don't do this. When you guys do a lot of things behind scene, and you have to work hard, especially with the state. And I know your team and the IT and everyone do an amazing job. I don't have to have a question. If I have a question, PJ, I will call you, text you, you always give me an answer. But for the record, I'm saying this because people, they don't know what you guys do. People, they don't know what we do. People, they don't know what we all do to try the best for Bridgeport Public School. And I know it's not easy. you have to go through a lot of things to be sure this should be good. So I just want to say thank you, PJ, for everything you're doing and your team and everyone. I really appreciate all your hard work. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
You're welcome.
Okay, and if no one has any other questions, I will finish. I couldn't agree with, Mr. Sakalovic more about, Bridgeport and other impoverished districts suffering while, certain people are playing the fiddle. When we have the money in Hartford. I also, we joked earlier about the state test. We have 25 years now of testing nationally. There is nothing that shows it has done a darn thing to help our kids. I will make that comment as a member of this board. There are studies out showing that standardized testing has done nothing more than make certain corporations wealthier and has not pushed forward the learning of our children. And so to hear you say that a computer that could be just perfectly fine for our children to learn with isn't fine because it won't be usable for the test. Just reinforces everything I feel about that test. Because we could still use that computer to help our children learn insofar as computers are a useful learning tool. But we have to throw it out because it's no good for the test. That's just one more nail in that coffin for me. So we'll end on that note. I would, if there is nothing else for this meeting, I would entertain a motion to adjourn. Mr. Woodson or Mr. Benahan Graves?
Don't move, Mr. Benahan.
I will second that motion. All in favor of adjourning?
Aye.
Aye.
Have a good night, everyone. God bless you all.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
We are adjourned.
Thank you, guys.